much. I appreciate that. So I noticed that you have a rebelliousness to you. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love the warrior in you.
Mm,
And I'm a warrior myself, and I love to see that in other people, someone who stands up to their truth and doesn't fold in what they believe in, and it's someone who walks in their truth, speak their truth, and help other people to do that. How did you develop this rebelliousness, this strength, this confidence that you're exuding so much right now?
wow. That's huge, huge, huge for me because I think going back to myself as a child, I've always actually had a rebellious nature. It just wasn't productive when I was young because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the experience or maturity yet until my adult years where, you know my story, but your listeners don't probably yet. I went through a battle years and years with an eating disorder and, cutting and drinking and just being promiscuous and you name it, rape, and all of these things taught me that I don't have the personality who's just going to do what I'm told just because it's what you're told. I have very, very firm foundational beliefs. And one of my gifts has been, and discomforts also has been the inability to be pulled away from those or to not fight back when I see something that's wrong. But the problem is that I didn't have the courage, the confidence, or the strength yet to be able to stand up to this. So it always caused a major discord in me rather than standing up for it in the past. I always saw it, I felt it, I did nothing.
Mm.
And I might cry telling the story, but I think just years and years of doing that, it chipped away. It chipped away at me. And I think though it was I'll rephrase that. Instead of saying a chipping away, it was more of a building, building, where it's like, you can only do this for so long before you break. And for me, my breaking point was through a divorce, actually, where I was in 5 years of a relationship and a marriage with somebody who, in the same way, I felt very misaligned and pulled away from my truths of who I know myself to be. And I was convinced of otherwise. And I was held back, held down, and deterred away from my purpose, which is huge for me.
Yes.
And so when you have a rebellious nature like myself, when you have a strong purpose like myself, and you continually allow the world or yourself, your own misbeliefs, to convince you that you're either less than or not capable or not lovable, whatever the lie may be, there was a cataclysmic moment for me in that divorce where I just said, it was like a volcano eruption. It was like, enough is enough.
Yes.
And from that moment on, everything I did was aligned with myself, my truth, my purpose. And I found out, that through experience and my own capabilities, because I refused to do anything other than my purpose.
I like
so
that.
Through experience, it showed me, it called out the lies for what they really are. So you can always say in your mind, those are lies. But if you don't have an experiential moment to back that up with, your mind's just going to convince you that that's a lie.
Yes.
It's going to convince you that you're not telling yourself the truth.
Yes.
Until you can back that up with action and say, no, self, I prove it to you because I did that. That's true confidence.
Yes.
And I think that's how you see me sitting here today with all this confidence, because I know now I'm so glad I went through all of that, Nadine.
Yes. Because
now I have such a distaste for, if something is in my head and I don't do it, then I'm off. I am completely off. And I have such a distaste and a discord in it. And I'm like, nope, I can't live there. I cannot. I get out of it really quick.
I like that. So you follow through in what you promise yourself.
Have to.
So you're a woman of integrity.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's something that is very, in my opinion, very difficult to cultivate, right? You promise yourself that you're going to do something because I know for me, you know, for most of my life, I let myself down. I promised myself that I'm going to do something, but then I don't really follow through on it. And then I end up suffering in the
Yes.
long run when I don't do the things that I need to do in order for me to learn and grow and
Yes.
be that best version of myself that is so important for me to show up every day as the best version of myself.
Yes.
But you're able to really be stronger than that little mind, that little voice in your head, and overcome that, which is not easy, right? It's not easy. I guess if you tell yourself that it's not easy, then it won't be easy. But that's something that you work on a daily basis,
Yes.
right? To cultivate that mindset that you are in charge.
Yes. You're in the driver's seat. And it's okay to say that's not easy. Because I'm going to tell you and be honest right now. It's not easy. And actually, for me, in some ways, it's getting harder. Some ways it's getting harder, in some ways it's getting easier. But
Maybe
what you
because you're pushing yourself with new challenges and new limits.
Yeah. And you know what, too, like as you elevate that, then the obstacles get elevated. So what I found in the recent chapter is now that I know my purpose and you become aligned with that and you
Mhm.
start to build this habit of like obstacle overcome, obstacle overcome. It's just a part of life, right? That's just is what it is. It's not good or bad. It just is.
Mhm.
And until you can realize that inevitably, no matter what you're doing, whenever you're going to make a change or approach some level of fear, you will feel an obstacle immediately
Resistance,
in
yes.
some way. And usually
Yes.
it's going to be in your biggest weakness.
Yes.
So what separates those who can triumph over that is
Mm-hmm.
those who recognize it, who are self-aware, they know it for what it is, and then
Mm-hmm.
they push through that to the other side.
Yes.
That's where the
Yes.
confidence is built. Confidence is built by a habit of pushing through hard
Yes.
things.
Repetition.
Yes.
That is very true. That is very true. I started waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. I read this book by Sharma. It's called The 5 a.m. Club. And I went through the whole book and it really changed my perspective on what, excuse me, and what I was doing with myself every morning, because you know how your morning sets the tone for the
Yes.
rest of the day. And I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I was so miserable. I was wasting my mornings. I was not waking up until my son wakes up, which, you know, we all need that time in the morning to get our head straight,
Yes.
to realign with the great I am, to do the things that feed our soul. What do you do to be so positive and so confident and so driven and just so amazing? Like, what do you do to stay there, to be so strong-minded and stick in staying in your truth? What are you doing? What does your morning looks like?
Okay. I love this question. Nobody's ever asked me this question before. So obviously one thing I'll just say before I go into the specifics of my morning routine is that I have a mindset of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a very hard time with filling my time with meaningless things or things that don't allow me to grow in some way,
Oh, I
some
love
way.
that. Yes.
So I'm not a TV watcher. I don't even have cable. I don't. I don't know. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't do those
I
things.
like that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's just a mindset that I would encourage your listeners to take on. If you want to achieve any level of success or happiness, most of all, like happiness, purpose, then look at the people who have these things and look at what they value. Usually it's growth and peace and love and purpose and passion, so start to value those things and you'll find tools that align with that.